We are going to begin up in the very north of the country with one of the proudest local authorities that I have to say I've ever encountered. Very happy with everything that they've achieved, and why wouldn't they be? To talk about Leo and lean methodology, will you please welcome Brenda Hegarty from Donegal County Council. Brenda.
For my August Giadeve, I'm absolutely delighted to be here this morning representing Ulster and Donegal. I think there's few of us here, but there's at least one comrade. I think Brian's in the room. So my name is Brenda Hegarty. I am the Head of Enterprise with the Local Enterprise Office, and I'd like to just give you an overview of how we drove forward our digital transformation journey using lean methodology. Better get... I assume this is my clicker. I should have checked this before I came in. Is that us? Oh, yes. So, I'm going to just an overview of what I'll be speaking about, just the context of digital transformation, looking at the key drivers of change within the office, a little bit about the lean methodology and how we applied it within the local enterprise office, and then just looking at the impact and some recommendations going forward. So, obviously you're all well aware of Connecting Government 2030, and that really sets out the digital transformation ambitions of the government, and it is looking at how we can embrace digitalisation in the delivery of government services in the future. And it's not just about driving the focus on digitalisation, but it's stepping up the pace of the change that we will be embracing. And by 2030, 90% of the relevant services will be delivered digitally to our customers. So in terms of Donegal, where we were looking at, the critical point for us was to try and move to a paperless office. So drive digitalisation, adopt some of the digital technology. So we already had been using Submit application technology from around 2019, but we're only using it for a set piece of our applications around our Measure 1, and it was about extending and optimising the use of that technology, improving our services, and it's all about delivering to our clients and improving the service in terms of speed, accessibility and high quality, as well as being functional and pleasurable is probably the critical aspiration in the digital journey. Looking at driving efficiencies internally, reducing bureaucracy, and obviously that key word of doing more for less. And most importantly for us was drive a culture of innovation within the office, and that strive for continuous improvement. So internally, in terms of the drivers for change, the local enterprise office, like many of our services, has been on a significant journey from COVID. So pre-COVID to post-COVID, it's unrecognisable. Our budget has increased by 60%. The number of our services have actually increased by over 200%. So we've gone from just under 200 applications to 670 plus applications coming through the door. But the resource uplift has been quite low, just one increase in our personnel. So that really was a critical driver. Another driver was around the post-COVID. The need for blended working, the manual files were no longer relevant and appropriate in that blended working. So we needed to be able to access our files remotely. And also then looking at where our efficiencies were. We knew that a lot of our processes were designed for a different era, actually designed by a different team. There was a lot of new members in, and we wanted to free up our resource, internal staffing, so that we could do much more front-facing, client-facing work. Externally then, the key drivers was looking at, I suppose, our client and our customers are now much more digitally savvy. They expect to be able to access our services 24/7 in a fast, efficient way. And also looking, we were leading out on the digital transformation agenda on behalf of government. So we were offering our micro and small businesses the drive to digitally transform themselves. So it was really important that we could lead by example, that we could evidence what that digital transformation journey would be. And obviously then alignment with the government strategy that we would have 90% of our services delivered digitally. So lean is about digital transformation is a puzzle that we all have to understand. By no means am I an expert in digital transformation, but we wanted to aspire to our digital journey, but you cannot just transform the existing services digitally, because all you'll get is faster, bad processes. So the first thing in the digital journey is to look internally at our processes, and lean methodology allows that structured approach to look at how we're doing things and how we can do them better. So it's a very simple philosophy, because it's all about adding value from a customer perspective and the elimination of waste. And the other critical thing about lean methodology is that it's people-centred. So it's about encouraging the full team within your office to embrace the methodology and be part of the change journey. So lean is all about driving not just efficiencies but effectiveness, so doing the right things in the right way, being quicker, better, cheaper, and stamping out waste. And also that continuous ethos of continuous improvement. So when you're on a lean journey, you're never ending. It's a journey. You take project by project and continue the methodology going forward. So lean, many of you may have heard of it before. It's very much used within the manufacturing. So a lot of businesses would use lean methodology, and it originated in Toyota. And again, it's not just for manufacturing. It's widely used globally across public sector, health sector, insurance sector. So not just manufacturing businesses, but services and government as well. And it's all about engaging people to deliver out better service. So I'm not going to run through every aspect of lean today, but there's a few critical principles, and the first of them is looking at value. So really scrutinising our processes from a customer lens. So it's identify that it's value added, is customer, what the customer values should be retained. Then there is some things that the customer doesn't value, but it's necessary from a legislative perspective, so that's business value added. And then everything else is deemed to be non-value added or waste. And you re-engineer your process to remove out that waste. There's a number of different methodologies and tools. One of them is looking at a SIPOC. So it's really analysing the different parts of your process from a supplier input, process output and customer perspective, and using that to get a good overview of our processes. Because like many of you and within the local enterprise office, you assume that processes are one way, but when you actually unpack them, they're completely different to what you think they are or should be. The DMAC is also a very useful tool in terms of both prioritising projects that you want to escalate for lean experimentation, but also in terms of when you've identified a project to really unpack how you can scrutinise the process and imagine the future state and lock it in with the improvements and control out the process. And the final piece of tools there that I wanted just to highlight, just the different types of tools that's available within the methodology, is the root cause is a critical feature of lean. So really understanding where the problems are in the system, but the root cause of what is causing those problems so that you can better improve the process. And that PDCA plan check, Plan, Do, Check, Act is a useful tool in that framework. So in terms of how we applied lean within the local enterprise office, first thing was really to commit to the digital transformation and setting out that original vision that we were moving to be paperless, that we were going to remove out all our manual files by the 1st of January 2025. So what we then, back from that, we did an initial workshop, and again ensuring that everybody had a good understanding of lean. Now obviously we offer lean to our small businesses, so there was an onus on us to be able to understand what we were offering to our businesses. So that initial workshop was about building up an understanding of lean and maybe identifying a few quick wins. And the quick win for us was looking at our inquiry process, how people engaged with the office and how we can better digitalise that system. So that was the first action project that we did. Then we embedded some champion training, so looking at really getting the team to take ownership of lean, and in order to do that, we had yellow belt training for 5 internal champions, including myself. We mapped out our processes. We looked then at what projects we wanted to progress, and that was looking at both impact and cost of the different prioritisation of projects. We digitalised then, so once we had mapped out and looked at our processes, then we were in a better state to digitalise the services in terms of inquiries, applications and payments, monitor, review, validate and continuous improvement. So we're just at the start of this journey, but even within a 9-month period, we have been able to progress quite significantly within the office. And this here, just in terms of the approach, and it's very much like any change management tool. It's assessing your current situation, looking at where the bumps are in the processes, where the challenges are, looking at the causes in terms of the opportunity for process improvement. The importance is not jumping from step A to step D, to really analyse and scrutinise so that you identify the right projects, the causes and the best improvements. And then looking at setting up a team to embrace those changes, looking at the cost, the impact and the outcomes that would result in that. So overall then, in conclusion, within Donegal, we have had significant success with this journey, using lean methodology to transform and digitalise our services. So all of our grant schemes are now digitalised, so all of our applications, all of our inquiries. We have also, as well as the applications, all our payment systems are digitalised, so there is no longer any manual files within the office. Everything is signed off digitally. We have reduced our grant payment times by 1/3, so 1 week reduced. Grant decision times, again, has been expedited by, we've quickened that up by 50%. And most importantly, we've freed up our resources. So one example, we've removed an administration resource out of one of our processes entirely, and that has freed up 1/4 of her time to do better stuff. So it is about just doing things better from a customer perspective, but then it drives internal efficiencies. And most important to us is the culture of change within the office and that drive for continuous improvement and innovation. So the 3 critical factors for success for digital transformation and the process improvement is all around people, process and technology, and it's in that order. And probably just in advance of that is setting the leadership and the high-level vision to commit to digital transformation and then engage in the process, making sure your team are trained and skilled and embrace the need for the change and the principles around that change. Looking at the processes and using your lean methodology to improve those processes. And then the 3rd step is the technology. A lot of people in digital transformation take the technology first without unpacking what we're currently doing. So I think it's a useful tool. Happy to take any questions during the panel. Thanks a million.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda. There has never been a system created by man
That has not benefited from someone having a look at it and improving it. And the great thing, what I'm loving about that is all the businesses and all the customers, as you described them, that you're engaging with, they're all nearly using this in every other asset of their life. So therefore, they kind of expect it from their local authority, and therefore you're delivering something that really meets a need, which is brilliant. So do get some questions in if you have them regarding lean, and we'll come back to them a little bit later on.